career is putting the ball on a play. He gets it out deep, and Havlicek steals it over the stand throw. Havlicek stole the ball. It's all over. It's all over. Johnny Havlicek is being robbed by the fans.
One of basketball's iconic moments, and it came in a playoff series between the two teams you're about to see who have a rich postseason history. Sixers and Celtics, called by Brian Anderson, Kevin McHale, and Roz Gold on Woody about 15 minutes from now. Here in Atlanta, Studio J, it's TNT NBA Tip-Off, presented by Auto Trader. Ernie Johnson, Charles Barkley, Kenny Smith, and Shaquille O'Neal. So what makes this so historic, this series? Well, they've played 100 games. That's the most between any two teams in NBA history. 54-46 is the Celtic lead, including winning 12 of the 19 series. This is their 20th series meeting, first since 2012.
That's amazing.
In the series that we're all about to play in and compete in, you know, there's a lot that's gone on long before us that is worth knowing about. And I enjoy educating our young players about that history.
Today before shoot around, we watching a video about kind of like the rivalry. Dr. J had a message. I mean, it was just kind of explaining the rivalry and how intense it gets. And that these are the type of moments I live for, so I'm excited.
Now, granted, that Bird and Dr. J was a regular season tussle that they had, but in the postseason, Charles, you know what this is all about. You were in a series in your rookie year for the Eastern Conference Final, but I know you had to have been told going in how important it is when Philly plays Boston.
The word you need to think of, Ernie, is hatred. These guys, they actually hated each other. And it was really weird because I got to know Kevin McHale and Larry Bird later, and they were great guys. But from the time we started playing in the regular season and then in the playoffs, they actually hated the Celtics. And it obviously goes back a long way, but Wilt, Bill Russell, those guys.
Bob Cousy.
But so y'all didn't go on vacations in the summer with the Celtics?
Do we not know? How about this here? How about this, Kenny? We played the Celtics in an exhibition game, and I'm a rookie. And we actually played in Las Vegas. And I bumped into McHale and Bird in the casino and just hello. They got mad at me. They're like, no, young fella, we're not like that. It's just hatred, Ernie, plain and simple.
We're not like that.
Well, Kenny, what do you see?
I like that. I like that.
What do we see now in 2018 in this Eastern Conference semifinal as the Celtics have had 5 nights, the Sixers have had 5 nights off. The Celtics just completing a Game 7 win over Milwaukee. How do you gauge the series? And by the way, Jaylen Brown will not play tonight for the Celtics.
That's big.
You know, that's the news of the day. And that's going to change the whole way I'm about to talk. But overall, if you think about, you know, on the day one, Hayward was going to possibly be their leading scorer. He goes down. Kyrie Irving becomes your leading scorer. He goes down before the playoffs. And then Jaylen Brown, who has been your leading scorer in the playoffs, goes down. How can you keep doing it? That's what everyone said. How can you keep winning? But and you say, well, someone else has to, Al Horford has to take more shots or Rozier has to score more. I don't really think so. I think they have a system and a systematic unit that whoever's plugged in gets the same amount of shots as the guy that was plugged in for. That's the most unique thing I've ever seen. So when Jaylen Brown goes in, he gets the same amount of shots as Hayward. When Rozier goes in, he now gets the shots that Kyrie Irving was getting.
There's Marcus Smart, who will start tonight.
Will get the shots that Jaylen Brown at times will get. It's just going to they have to go in. If they have a system that doesn't change once guys change.
If you're the Celtics, what are you thinking defensively first, Embiid or Simmons?
I would say you have to say, with Simmons, you have to say, we're not going to let him penetrate, because when he penetrates, he's sort of like LeBron. He likes to get people involved. And we just have to, clog the lane. And Embiid is a handful. He's probably going to get his numbers, but you can't let both those guys get off. And if I was a guard playing, I would probably back up 2 steps and, force him to shoot that jumper. He's averaging He's averaging 17, 18 points with no jumper. You know, all his points are always in the paint. So, you know, they're going to have to do a great job of collectively playing good defense and keeping this kid out of the middle of the paint.
You know, it's interesting when I was scouting at the Utah game yesterday, because I said before the series, I said, man, they got some guys, Tucker and Ariza, that can match up with Donovan Mitchell because they're big enough, they're strong enough, they got length. Well, the Boston Celtics has that guy, Marcus Smart. This is going to be a tough series for Ben Simmons because Smart is he is athletic enough, but you got to be strong because Ben is big. You know, I told you the first time I met him, I kept saying to myself, I sure hope he gets smaller as he get closer, and he was a legit 6'10". But Smart is one of the better defensive players in the league, but he's got a great body. He can put it on him if the officials let him play. But, man, I take my hat off to the Celtics. With all the injuries, Haywood, Kyrie, Smart being out a lot of first.
Oh, yeah.
And now Jaylen Brown. I don't know if I just don't know if they're going to have enough bodies to beat the Sixers. I don't think they will.
There's the G League still available, players from the G League.
So now what do you do about Embiid?
Well, Embiid, you know.
Yeah, no worries.
But they got to make a decision.
There is a one or the other. There is no both because it's impossible to do both. And the one would have to be Simmons. You'd have to play as much single coverage as you can on Embiid at times because if you go double, Simmons slices to the rim, and he's 6'10", as Charles said. And then that advantage that Smart has of guarding on the perimeter is over. So collectively, you just have to say, Ben Simmons, we have to make him a shooter from free throw line out, and you cannot let him get into the lane to score, and you coming in there when he does. Other than that, Embiid is an impossible cover for him.
Well, Embiid's going to show me how smart of a player he is this series because the Celtics going to have to make a decision whether to play Baines or Horford. He can take one time. Embiid hurts himself at times because he stands out on the three-point line. To me, if they put Al Horford on him, take him down on the box and just punish him, and then you can use your speed and ability if you got Baines. But that to me is going to be the most interesting matchup. Who the Celtics put out there, whether it's Horford or Baines.
You see Horford trying to take Embiid outside and get him away from the rim, stop the rim protection that Embiid is capable of?
Definitely, he was a pick and pop guy, but I, agree with Chuck. And if you look at Embiid's average, you have to keep him around that average. You can't let him go down and bang, 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 and put up 20s and, get a couple 30s. But, Horford's a smart player. He's probably going to use some tactics, pump fake him, try to get him in foul trouble, try to get him out the game. But he's definitely going to take him out to get him away from the basket.
But you see, he's 1 for 12 from 3. Why are you shooting threes if you got Al Horford guarding you? Yeah. I mean, you got a size advantage. You got to punish him down low because Al Horford, as I said, he's the guy who he's the head of the snake.
The Bucks gave Celtics trouble when they got out and ran in the open floor. Philadelphia likes to do that same thing. How do you control that if you're Boston?
Well, I think just when they got in the open floor, they had similar to what Giannis can do is what Ben Simmons does. Ben Simmons and Giannis are very similar when they get it off the rebound. And in the open floor, or in steals, the open floor, they're so big with handling the basketball that the guy that's typically guarding them can't stay in front of them. But I don't know if they have the, I know Redick is a great shooter, but I don't know if he's as a great a shooter as Middleton is in transition. He's in the half court, he is, but not as in transition. Trying to find Middleton is a tough cover. But I think that actually the Celtics with Jaylen Brown match up decent against Philadelphia. That's a pretty good matchup for them. I think round one was tougher for them, would be tougher than this round if they had everybody in terms of at least style of play. Winning this series, I still would say Philadelphia has the advantage, but it'll be easier to get certain things done for Boston.
And Ernie, on the offensive end, whoever Ben Simmons is guarding, let's just say, for example, he's guarding Rozier. Rozier also has to make him play defense. You can't let a guy like Ben Simmons rest on defense and just play offense. So, the same thing Rozier was doing to Bledsoe, he has to try to do the same thing to Ben Simmons or whoever's guarding him.
Question for the panel. Who is Philadelphia's leading scorer in the postseason?
J.J. Redick.
Yep, I'll go with J.J. Redick.
I would go with Redick as well, but we're all wrong. Right?
No, you're all correct.
Okay.
Very impressive.
Okay.
And Philadelphia has won 9 straight on the road as they go into Boston for Game 1. Sixers and
You can't stop us, Ernie.
Coming up next that was well done.
Way to cheat off me and Shaq
well
paper,
done
Kenny.
By you three. Very
Well, you had just answered first.
Where'd he go to school, Kenny?
School in Durham.
Get used to it, but he's not knowing, so goggles and everything, I can't really see. So, besides game time, I don't really see the point of wearing it.
At this point, do you even still allow it to frustrate you in game and moments?
I try not to, but sometimes it is. But like I said before, that's the only way I can be on the court, so I got to do it. I think they've been trying to find a solution on the fogginess, and then that's about it.
But it's the same one?
Yes.
Can you give regular updates and ask them when this might be able to come off?
Well, last thing I remember, I think after the surgery, the doctor said it was going to take 6 weeks, and when it was going to be fully healed, I expect to take it off. So it's been, I think this is the fourth week. So this is the 4th week. So we're going to see in 2 weeks after scans and stuff to see if it's fully healed. And if it is, I'm taking it off.
You take a lot of
yeah, the fan family process.
Joe, what would be the best part about not playing with the mask whenever that happens?
Have better vision. Make more shots, I guess. Yeah.
You take a lot of pride in defense. Is that, you said Boston's the best defensive team in the league? Is that a source of motivation going into this matchup?
Oh yeah, it is. I thought the last the 40 games of the season we were up there. So I think going against them is going to be tough. They're really well coached. Got good players, so it's going to be tough for that. But like I said, if we're going there, we mainly take care of the ball and we share the ball, we're going to be fine.
What are your favorite ways that Barkley and Ersan have changed the team, either on or off the court?
Oh, they've changed everything. Since they got here, after All-Star break, they've been amazing. They've helped us, especially with some scoring off the bench. This has been amazing to have them on the team. So, off the court, they're just great guys, you know. The culture around here, we got a lot of international guys, so we kind of like mesh really well together. But on the court, off the court, they're just great guys, and it goes for the whole team. I got great teammates around me, and I'm glad we're playing well. It's quiet. Don't talk much, but when it comes to business, they're going to do their job.
How familiar are you with the history of this rivalry between Boston and Philadelphia?
I kind of, the last couple of days, since I've been in Philly, kind of learned a lot about it. But you know, they've been going back and forth for like a long time ago. So I think this game is going to have a lot of meaning. And today before shooter on, we watched a video about kind of like the rivalry. Dr. Joel had a message. It's gonna be fun. I love this. It was just kind of explaining the rivalry and how intense it is. And then these are the type of moments I live for, so I'm excited.
Do you expect the rivalry to sort of rekindle? Both teams are sort of Boston's very good, and you guys are getting very good. Can you see this, stretching out for a few more years?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think when you look at the whole league and you talk about the future of the league, we up there, they're up there, so it's going to be fun the next couple of years.
What was your favorite moments from the video or the history that you've studied? What sits on your head?
Dr. Joel Embiid holding the shooter's necks.
Have you noticed that Coach Brown pulled his? Has he changed in the playoffs at all? With attitude, intensity?
No, it's been the same. Everybody has kind of changed a little bit now. Everybody's kind of focused. The playoffs is expected, so but it's been the same. All those guys, the coaches, the players, just a little bit more focused because we know that we have a chance. We have a special, so we know that we can do this shit. So everybody's focused on that goal.
When you're four guys, who's not going to shot? How does that change your focus?
Kind of takes me away from the rim, but if you look at what I've been able to do since I started playing in the league, I became able to guard everybody all over the floor, not just on the inside. Feel like that's why I'm up there as far as defensive player of the year candidate. So I don't think it bothers me. There's a lot of coverages that we gotta make sure we sustain. When if it gets too far from me, we gotta switch stuff like that. But it gets challenging. It takes me away from the rim, which I'm best at. But I'll be fine. We just gotta do our job and find a game plan.
Boston's big's going to go physical with you at the point of attack, closing up. When you can't really get a guy to budge, how do you get creative to get around him or get that foot in the paint so you can get your shot?
I think I've shown that I'm pretty skilled, so I got a lot of ways. I got, as far as the score, I think I have a lot of ways to score. As far as picking up the dribble, posting up, shooting a three or face-up jumper, so figure it out. But I think the matchups against them this year, I think I've taken a lot of jump shots, which has kind of lowered kind of like my field goal percentage and kind of like reduced my points against them. So now I'm going to look to attack more.
In Boston's game plan, they want you to take those face-up shots. So since you know what they want out of you, does that help you plan for how you want to get around that?
I think everybody should know this by now. That's kind of like my go-to, my face-up jump shot. So I feel like, every time I take it in practice, or every time the guys or the coaches want me to take it, they always say 65% because that's how well I can shoot it and that's how well I can make it. So, if it's open, I'm going to take it. If they call me, I got to attack, call my teammates, try to look for ways to score. Thank you, guys.
Antsy out there, I'm trying to find out who your next opponent is. Are you watching NBA playoffs to get ready for Boston and Milwaukee?
I think everybody's a little bit antsy. I'm fine. I just feel like whoever we play, who we play, we'll be ready for our matchup.
Ben, how does it help you guys having Joel available for this whole preparation period of the second round that you guys didn't have for the first round?
It just means we're more prepared, and we know we're running. We know what sets we're going to be in, and we have a little bit more chemistry going into this next series.
You showed a lot of poise in the last series, but I'm pretty sure that whoever you play next is still going to try to come at you and try to frustrate you. How do you go about maintaining your poise?
Just focus on the next play, a play at a time. Every individual incident is a lot bigger than the actual, not as big as the actual game side. So, if I'm able to keep my poise and carry on with my team and keep playing where we're playing, will be fine.
But do you brace yourself going into the game like, I know this is going to happen? Like, go through your mind or something like that?
I'm just playing, honestly. Whatever they throw at me, I'll be ready for it. At the same time, I'm not going to get too crazy or lose myself in that moment. I got to stay present for my team.
I know you love the game a lot, but is there some value to decompressing on a day like yesterday? Brett was talking about sometimes it can just be helpful to get away and recharge. Does that help you at all?
Yeah, definitely. I think it helps a lot. Refreshes your mind. Obviously, the rest is important, and then it's good to get back in a day like this, even though the sun's out, to play.
We need to talk a little bit about what you've observed in this downtime in the other NBA games. What have you seen in the other NBA games that struck you in the playoffs?
The teams that are winning, the guys who are playing together. That's the biggest thing I've taken away from every game I've watched.
Man, have you seen any change in the psyche of the city or the sports fans over the last few months here?
Yeah, the fans have been great all year, but now it's just getting more hectic with playoffs going on, and obviously us making that push. So the city has been amazing.
Do you want specifically to win tonight, or home court advantage where you're at, guys?
Home court would be nice.
Brett was, he said the other day that I guess one of the mottos around the team right now is we've got more to do. When did that kind of seem like it became something that was realistic for this group, that it went beyond perhaps just a first round playoff?
After winning the first series in the team. I think we have a great team, great coaching staff, and we have guys who want to get it done and keep getting better. You know, we're not satisfied with where we're at right now.
JJ was telling me about a time when he was kind of holding you accountable during a game where he said, I don't like where you're throwing the ball or something like that. You know, as like a star player, is that something you're okay with?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's how I learned. He's been in the league for a lot of years. It's my first year playing, so whatever he can help me get better at and improve my game for the team's sake, then I'm with him. Thank you.
Any idea or opinion about what's going to maybe happen tonight with Boston and Milwaukee?
It's a game 7 for sure. It'll be a tough game between two great opponents. You know, I think they already knows everything between each other, and you know, I think me like a random guy, you know, I'll sit in front of TV, watch the game. I think it'll be nice. I think they'll play like on an edge every position, and you know, because of that, we love basketball, everybody, and who will win? I don't know. Maybe Boston because they have like home court, but advantage. But you know, Milwaukee with Giannis, like it's a very good team.
With home court and play, depending on who wins, are you going to be rooting for a specific team?
Yeah, I think I'll be like more for the Milwaukee because you know we have a home court advantage against them. But you know, if you play against Boston, it's like unbelievable franchise, unbelievable organization for so many years, and it's always nice to play in their gym, you know, in front of all their jerseys, you know, what's hanging out there, and you know, it's not something I want more or less. I think both of them are very good opponents for us, and I think we can beat both of them.
How ready are you to play a game? Just to get back out in the swing of things and play a game?
Yeah, it's a little bit weird, you know, we beat the Miami 4-1, you know, we have a couple more days for the rest, but I think maybe sometimes, you know, some teams can lose some rhythm of the games, you know, because usually in playoff you play every 2 days, maybe 3 days, and now we lost a little bit rhythm, but I hope, you know, on these practices where we got, we try to catch and be ready for their first game.
This team changed a lot around the trade deadline, brought in two new players, yet the spirit of the team didn't seem to be affected by it. What was the secret to absorbing these two guys onto the team and making them feel part of it?
Yes, especially, you know, Ersan and Marco, everybody knows they are great players, but I think they are very good people, you know, and to fit in the group of people, and a young group of people what we got here, I think it was not something amazing, you know. They just come here, they accept in the team because they're great people, and here everybody else staff, you know, medical staff, they are everybody, you know, great, and I think we are like organization, one good point, like good chemistry, you know, between all people there, and you know, that's just one step for a successful season.
Thank you, Dario. Thank you, Dario.
Thanks, Dario.
Long playoff series, and you know, we get who they are. They kind of get who we are, but it's not born out of anything else that we're in the same division. We played each other, you know, 4 times, and you pay attention. But I feel like as this series unfolds, you know, less and less frequently are there secrets. It was the first thing that we showed this morning, you know, and because I grew up, you know, in New England and I'm not young, I get the history of what goes on with our two organizations intimately. And I think it's just incredibly exciting. And so to revisit that with my young guys and show them before we even got into, you know, sort of X's and O's and scout tape, is really look at the history here. You know, have a real sort of kind of knowledge base of our two organizations. It's something historic. It's something very special. In the series that we're all about to play in and compete in, you know, there's a lot that's gone on long before us that is worth knowing about. And I enjoy educating our young players about that history.
Since the last series, have you spoken to him or done anything to help him be more comfortable use that mask?
You know, he plays around with it on his own terms in many ways, but it's really remarkable to me that he performs like he does, having really not played much. Now it's in the playoffs. Now he's got a mask. Now the mask has a lens. You know, there's some things there that are real that would suggest like he may not be as impactful on the court, and that's far from the truth. He's really, to me, been amazing with what he's been able to do. I think the comfort level that he's experiencing, just wearing it and playing more and more, is certainly helpful. But we'd all be lying if we didn't understand it'll be a good day for him when he's able to take it off and play freely.
Will he wear a shoe around though? I noticed he had it.
Yeah, you know, at times we sort of try it, then we take it off. We try it, we take it off, and you know, I do leave it with him for him to find his own comfort level a lot of times.
Nice to see you again, Jamie. 10-13 Portland.
How are you?
Growing up in South Portland. First off, congratulations getting to LeBron too. Growing up in South Portland, how much did you follow the Celtics in this rivalry?
The volume of times that I drove down 95 from both Rockland, Maine and Portland, Maine to sit in the car with my dad, who was my coach and is 80 years old now and coached for 50 whatever years, 50, maybe even 60 years, 58 years, and made that trip down to the Boston Garden and saw these games. You know, you saw the games and you saw the history unfold, and then I went to Boston University and saw it more. And so, like, to be able to come back to Boston, the Boston Garden, play the Celtics, and be, you know, in the series on the other side of the fence with Philadelphia, it sure brings back a lot of great memories.
The chess match of coaching in a series versus a regular season, can you put that into words?
Just that I have a lot of
enjoyable.
Oh yeah, that's competition. You know, you love it, and you know, people do things for different reasons. When I accepted this job, you either take it, you know, under threat or for the challenge. And you go into a series and you look forward to the challenge. I got a lot of time for Brad. I've known him, you know, for quite a while. And he's a good person. He's a hell of a coach. And I look forward to, on a far greater level, just letting our teams compete and the organization compete more than sort of the underbelly of your bomber. Thanks, everybody.
Playing rotation and also seemed to be accepted among this team. Were you pleasantly surprised at how quickly the other players accepted that injection of a new talent into their new team?
Not really. I mean, like, you know, when I was in San Antonio, for me it was really quick to understand the team, understand the role that I was supposed to have, the offensive, the defensive stuff, you know, everything, you know. So for me, you know, I was really happy to come here because, you know, like, I really think that this team got something special right now. And, you know, I just love to play for Coach Brown, this organization, for this fans, and, you know, play with Ben and other guys. For sure, it's something good.
I was just thinking that sometimes they can make a new guy feel like an outsider. The other player didn't make him feel like that.
No, not really. I mean, like, you know, I think it's normal to be nervous the first day when I was here, but, you know, after that, I play with such a great guys in this team, you know, so like, it was easy for me.
How important, you know, when you guys are in the midst of a long layoff like this, how important can a practice like
I
today
think it's really important to practice. You know, I think I still don't remember when we played last game against Miami, you know, so that's a pretty long time ago. And I don't think that's a good thing. But at the same time, you know, I think it's really important to have like a good practice, stay in rhythm, you know, and let's wait for the opposite team.
When's the last time you guys had a practice like today?
I would say not today. Not yesterday. The day before. I think we practiced a little bit 5-on-5 with contact. So.
Marco, is there a certain opponent that you want for the next round? You care about home court advantage much?
I think that Boston tonight is going to win the game. That's my opinion, because I think they have a good team. They're going to play a home game. They know how to play this kind of game. They got a little experience in how to play this playoff game, Game 7. I think Milwaukee is a great team. They really fight, and it's going to be really interesting to see which team is going to win tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Of practice today?
Just lots about us. We really look forward to knowing an opponent. You can feel the guys are getting antsy, and to pretend you're gonna scout the Celtics and then scout the Bucks, that's not going to happen. We try to choose things that are going to help us get better and deal with our opponent once we know it. We feel like we've done our due diligence to lay out a game plan. That's not the issue. But just anointing a practice, this is for the Bucks, this is for the Celtics, that's not going to happen, and we zoomed in on ourselves.
Coach, the extra time between the series, specifically for Joel, how much does that help you guys get in, I guess, a better rhythm than maybe you were when you kind of got clear late?
I would say it's a line ball. I think for Joel and others, and Joel's probably a little bit different than others, but for others for sure, time off and getting their bodies right is a good thing. Joel, we like him playing, and I see that path being different than like J.J. Redick's. You asked the question about Joel from a rhythm and team standpoint, and really Marshall is like I see it a little bit to familiarize himself more, a little bit with the plays, but not really much to give lots of credit to.
Brett, did you guys get out after it more so today than
Absolutely.
You
Yeah, we did. They had a good sweat. We got up and down the floor, and it was a physical practice. It was real, and it had that spirit and flavor to it on purpose. That's how I designed the practice. We needed to compete, and they did.
But when you look at potential opponents in the playoffs, how much do you base your previous regular season success against them, and how much do you just weigh your current success as a team?
I think you always learn something when you look at the games that you've played. I never overreact or judge it sort of in totality. And if you especially study who played the game, lots of times either JJ wasn't there or Joel wasn't there or Kyrie played or they didn't have Giannis. It's, just look at it. You guys know what I'm saying. And so you choose different pieces that are quite common, and we're going to have to guard Bledsoe, we're going to have to deal with Horford and what's the matchup you want and all that. You still learn, but you certainly don't learn enough. And to pretend like you do to me, is wrong.
Coach, your last game was Tuesday. Where do you stand on the Russ versus rest debate with your team?
I think we'll all sort of be geniuses once the first game ends. I'm fine with it. I feel like we managed it well. We took the realities of the schedule. I think that they took care of themselves. I can see in their faces that they're spirited, they're rested for sure, but they're also antsy. They want to play. They want an opponent, and we'll all be better judges of that seemingly after the first game.
Are you antsy too, though?
I am. Yeah, I am. I can't wait to sit back and watch this game tonight, but I'm excited more to play than I am to watch the game. And I think I sort of share the same feelings as our players do.
What's gone into keeping this team fresh over the course of the season? A day like yesterday, how do you use time that's idle to make sure that the guys are able to get through everything to this stage?
I mean, a lot of time, a day off, in a real day off, does wonders. When they know they don't have to come in for treatment, when they know they don't have to come in and get foul shots, when they truly have a day off. That many times is the answer to, like, you know, trying to get better and prepare. And, you know, you pick your poison on what that actually looks like. But in my sort of years doing this, at times they need a day off. And I think that we walk the line of preparation and working and lifting and sweating versus, you know, just stay away from everybody and enjoy your family and in your own time and refill your cup.
You know, condition them to play one more game, or are you thinking you better get them in condition to play a possible 21 more games? What do you think?
Well, we just want to play the next game, and it all adds up. You know, we're so mindful of heart rates and resting heart rates and body weights and skin fold. We can judge, you know, deconditioning. We can judge just by normal sort of maintenance if somebody's got niggles that need to be adhered to. They need to have rest. And so I don't, you know, at all feel the template, like, let's get them in shape for 21 games. I feel like we take the realities of what we have. We got to go beat either Boston or Milwaukee. We've had a few days off. How do we make sure we don't decondition? And how do we stay prepared? And, you know, somewhere in that sort of ecosystem, you come up with an answer and you move on.
You mentioned it was a physical practice today. Does Joel participate in that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
How long did that go?
I bet from, what time is it now? I bet with film session and walkthroughs, we went probably for almost 2 hours. You know, probably an hour 50.
You mentioned watching the game tonight. How much have you been following the downtime in terms of actually having to play games, the rest of the playoffs?
I watch it all.
You watch it all?
I watch it all.
What's your biggest takeaway from what you've seen so far, just the way things kind of played out first round to get into Game 7s?
I mean, it increasingly is obvious to me that you need a team. And I'm purposefully pausing. You need to have chemistry, togetherness, a spirit that provides insulation to, it's 92-92, what are you going to do now? You know, you've had 4 trips up the floor where you've had 4 turnovers. What are you going to do now? You know, 3 ridiculous calls by a rep. What are you going to do now? We have a team. We have something very unique. And you don't just, like, click your heels in April and make that up and talk about it more sincerely. You work at it. And we have worked at it. And the guys are fantastic. And so, always in games, there is a breaking point where somebody's spirit is going to get punched and somebody's going home. And you just need it all to get through stuff. And it's not any examples to anybody. It's just a reminder from the life that I used to live. You better have that. You better have that. Thank you.